who is in control of Verbove. We're going to be covering the evidence and looking at what has proven some of the heaviest fighting of the entire counteroffensive. I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It's September 26th, 2023. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get into it. All right, first, there's no update to the control maps for the last 2 days or so. Moving over to the combat map, you can see once again, Ukrainian armed forces preserving a pretty high level of OPSEC in and around Zaporizhzhia province. No minimal reports of shelling, no reports of Russian counterattacks, but we can be almost certain that there's been a ton of fighting here because when you go on X and some of the combat forums, you see just an absolute eye-watering number of videos coming out of this fighting. And I can't show any of them on the channel here because of YouTube's extremely strict policies on war analysis, right? You have to be a major established media outlet to show war footage, apparently. But if you want to support the channel and check it out, you can go to combatvetnews.com. This is where I twice a week drop combat videos, the latest ones from the front line. We do a deep dive analysis. We find the location. We find the units involved. We assess the gear and the tactics, and it really gives us insight that we can't get anywhere else. Plus, it's the best way to support the channel. So go over to combatvetnews.com/become a member. Any one of these tiers gets you access to the members only content, but the lieutenant tier is going to get you the shout out at the end of the video. The colonel tier is just for people that really appreciate my work and want their name in gold. So if you're interested, again, combatvetnews.com, link is in the description. But when we look over at X, this is really the best source of information on the fighting right now, to the extent there is any. For example, this Freud Grayskull is reporting that first, Ukrainian armed forces, right, are continuing to push and occupy Russian positions in and around this Klachivka region. And as we talked about, I think this is going to be the focus for them. Right here is the rail line. Here are those two windbreaks we've been talking about for some time. Here, I'll plot them on the map for you so you can see it. This is outside of Klachivka. Here's this area right here. And you can see they're assessing Ukrainian control here. But I think you're going to see Ukraine continue to push and grind on Russian troops in this area. They're going to try to peel back, right, Russian troops in and around these windbreaks. And once you can get a foothold, it's much easier to clear defensive positions when you're already in them, so to speak. So I think that's what you're probably going to see there. But the Grayskull has also pointed out, let's see if we can find some of his maps. This is gains in northern, just north of Novoprokopivka. He's reporting Ukrainian forces, again, continuing to establish control of these contested regions, right? See, here's the actual town of Novoprokopivka right here. And then you can see they're trying to, again, continue to advance. Probably to occupy some positions where they can provide fire support as light infantry enter, or maybe mech infantry enter and clear the town here. Right. Scrolling down, trying not to get demonetized. There's at least one more. Not interested in the gains north of Optina. I think it's maybe right here. Yeah, here we go. This is from yesterday, right? Just confirming Ukrainian forces operating in and around the northern outskirts of Verbove. So you can see here, this is reporting that this is assessing Ukraine does have control of this very northernmost sector of the town and is contesting, again, this northwest sector of Verbove. But there's also some rumors that Ukrainian forces have been pushed back out and that they are going to continue to try to occupy some of these heights around the town, get better firing positions to support an infantry advance. Because you can see this is like a one stoplight town, so to speak, and it is really just houses situated along a few key roads, and in order to clear this, right, you want to have fire support either on the north or the south as your infantry advance through this one road, because it's very hard to take a linear town like this simply because there's not much maneuvering that's going to happen. A Russian soldier here knows the exact direction the Ukrainians are going to come from, right? They're going to come down the road. So it's a challenge for sure. And the rumor mill is, of course, buzzing with all different possibilities. Here's one from an account called Make Finch, which again assesses that Ukraine has pushed further into Verbove, right? You could see this assesses that they actually control a significant portion of the northern flank of the Northwest. But again, we haven't gotten confirmation from any of the sources. This is as of early this morning is when this is reported. But again, it's so hard. Remember, X is the rumor mill. It's very difficult to know what's actually going on. And even ISW, that's usually happy to make pronouncements, is saying that the tactical situation in Verbove is very, very unclear. But that, of course, increasingly it seems like Russian forces are really struggling to hold on to a lot of their territory across a number of different domains. So the question remains, right? Can Russia kind of shore up its fighting abilities? What I thought was interesting is, again, there's a story that Russian officials continue to reform and reorganize the Russian armed forces to reflect the needs of the fight in Ukraine. Russian armed forces are forming what they call reconnaissance and assault brigades in their larger army corps. These brigades are actively recruiting. Good luck. But these new units comprise assault troops that will break through layered defenses, reconnaissance troops that will conduct reconnaissance, quote, at tactical depth. Each brigade will get some tanks, light armored vehicles, artillery, and drones. And these brigades are meant to overcome pre-prepared Ukrainian defensive positions, especially in the Donbass, where, as you guys probably know, that's been one of the prime areas where Russia has been conducting its offensive operations. You can see the region kind of here. This has been a real site of significant fighting, and Russia has really been attempting to push these boundaries back. It's the one area where they've never really let up in terms of offensive action, but they've produced very little results. Actually, in villages like Opitna, they've actually lost ground despite being on offense, or rather, probably because they're on offense, right? Instead of digging fighting positions and mining, they're pushing, meaning that when their counterattacks come, they are less prepared. So I think that's probably what you're seeing. That's really all I had for you guys. Thank you so much, as always, to everybody that is here. Thanks to everybody who's a member of Combat Vet News. I'll see you guys later today. Videos dropping literally in like an hour. And thanks to all our Colonel tier members, our Lieutenant tier members, and all of our members. I couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Cheers.